is honest, reserved, circumspect, honorable, and strong-willed. Quietly ambitious within the realms of the possible, she loves to take on responsibility. She can work in the social domain. Possible issues, a sometimes bitter and mistrustful mind. Capricorn with ascendant Sagittarius. Sun and I, the sun is in the first house. Talia identifies strongly with the image she presents to others. Talia makes an impression on others, she has presence, and Talia knows it. Talia is self-conscious, although she may prefer to project a strong image. Talia feels best when she makes a mark on the world, but she sometimes obsesses over what others think of her. Talia eventually learns to accept that she knows what it means to be a leader or an innovator, and to go for it while being careful not to be overbearing with others. Key points: self-motivated, a competitive fireball, forceful personality and strong will, unforgettable and very noticeable. Her desire for self-development leads to success, which reflects in her career or position. Having the qualities of a leader. 57 conjunction between the Sun and Neptune. There is an unmistakably dreamy, inspired, and sensitive side to Talia. A marked appreciation for music and the arts is present. The connection of Neptune with the Sun, which represents the ego and the will, certainly softens some of the hard edges that might be found elsewhere in the chart, adding a sensitive and spiritual dimension to Talia's personality. Talia is naturally compassionate. It is so completely natural for her to accept that there is more to the world than what's before her eyes that she absent-mindedly presumes everyone must be spiritually inclined. Of course, Talia realizes that this is not the case at some early point in her life, specifically high school. Talia's attraction to spirituality and metaphysical subjects is usually marked. This aspect favors writers, artists, and musicians. Talia is sensitive to those suffering, although she is not usually taken advantage of. Talia is a humanitarian and may have a special connection with animals. If other aspects and positions in the chart support it, she is not one to dominate others or assert herself to the point of brashness. Talia has a fertile imagination, full of inspiration, and is very emotional, all qualities she uses successfully on the professional level. Key traits: Talia is naturally and genuinely empathetic, compassionate, and intuitive. Her observations and insights are unique and fascinating, making her an original and helpful guide. She has a gentle nature that picks up on subtle cues from her environment. 124 sextile between the Sun and Pluto. Talia has much sexual vitality and passion. It's easy and natural for her to find a passion, pursue it, and focus on a goal. Not much scares Talia. She enjoys and embraces growth, especially of the psychological kind. Talia loves a good mystery, and is adept at solving them. Talia readily assigns meaning to what others might consider ordinary events. She looks for symbols and reads between the lines in almost any situation. Talia's physical vitality is generally strong, and her body is usually able to heal quickly. Talia is not afraid to get her hands dirty, and she is usually quick to help others not only with mundane tasks but also on a spiritual or psychological level. Talia's insight is sharp and sometimes awe-inspiring. She is perceptive and not easily rattled or surprised in life. Talia is not a do-gooder, nor is she a lawbreaker. However, Talia is not afraid of the dark side of human nature, and will bend the rules from time to time if she feels the need to do so. Talia takes particular pleasure in growth and life's lessons. Talia is not fond of superficiality and is generally the first to spot pretense of any kind. She is passionate and can be intense. She has a hunger to experience more than just an ordinary life, and can be quite ambitious. Some people with this aspect are perfectionists, demanding much from themselves and reasonable effort and honesty from others. Key traits: Talia is creative, ambitious, and ready to transform or improve matters. She benefits from her willingness to improve, reform, and change. She has determination and willpower and can readily turn around a situation. 245 conjunction between the Sun and Lilith. Talia is fundamentally comfortable with the darker side of her nature. A student of human nature, she is observant, incisive, unique, unusual, and fascinating. The Moon. The Moon represents the emotional responses, unconscious predestination, and the self-image. The Moon represents the emotions, and the Moon sign shows how a person expresses themselves when at home, at ease, and comfortable. Moon in Gemini. People with Moon in Gemini are always interesting people. They have a finger in every pie, are curious to a fault, and are generally well-informed. Nervousness and worry are common traits with this lunar position. Lunar Geminis are usually pleasant, witty, and charming people. At home and with family, however, they can be moody and irritable at times. An underlying restlessness is common, and many lunar Geminis need more stimulation than others. They usually read a lot, talk a lot, and think a lot with this airy, mutable position of the Moon. Their homes are often a perpetual work in progress. They generally dislike housework but are big on home improvement. Reorganizing their homes in little and sometimes big ways seems to keep them happy, as lunar Geminis are easily bored by both routine and constancy. Often, this is a reflection of their inner world. The grass is always greener applies here. Inwardly, lunar Geminis can be unsettled. Moon and Gemini people are often more adept at handling the intellectual needs of their loved ones than emotional ones. They prefer to sort out others' complicated emotions mentally or verbally. In their families, lunar Geminis often take on the role of organizing get-togethers. They are at their best when they have plenty of things to do beyond the routine. Moon and Gemini people almost always have a way with words. They are clever and witty, and more often than not, can be found chatting with others. They are sociable and friendly, and feel comfortable in crowds. Some pay too much attention to what everyone else is doing and lose touch with what they really want to do. Generally, lunar Geminis have 1,000,001 projects going. They are impressionable folk, and their imagination is boundless. Their openness to new ideas is admirable, although decisiveness and persistence take a blow as a result. Still, versatility and adaptability are some of the stronger traits of this position of the moon. When irritable, they can easily become snappy. Their moodiness is complicated. This is not the same kind of moodiness you'll find with water sign moons, for example. Usually, difficult behavior stems from inner restlessness. Lunar Geminis want to do it all, and have trouble sticking to any one project. When problems arise, the first instinct of Moon and Gemini natives is to talk things out. Their tendency to analyze can give them the appearance of emotional detachment. In fact, Lunar Geminis may be especially comfortable talking about their feelings, but feeling their own feelings doesn't come as easily. Those who don't take time out to emote and understand their own needs may end up baffling others. Feeling misunderstood is common for Moon and Gemini natives. The only real solution to the problem is learning to get in touch with their feelings. Short description: sharp intellect. Talia likes literature and will adapt to all situations and social groups. Work in contact with the public, literary occupations, travel. Potential issues: lack of follow-up of ideas, indecision, may go back on decisions. Moon in B, the moon is in the 6th house. Not always a natural leader, but often happy with a simpler existence. Very successful as the right hand. In most cases, she is an employee, worker, etc., usually by choice. She likes the country, respects nature, and adores animals. Talia has an emotional need to be useful, work productively, be organized and on top of things, and lead a healthy life. If these matters are chaotic, it's a symptom of emotional unrest. Talia needs a lot of variety on the job to be stimulated and engaged to feel fulfilled. It may be that Talia changes jobs often, forever in search of the perfect fit job. Acceptance that any job requires some level of routine is hard for her. However, Talia's observation skills are excellent, and she succeeds at whatever she chooses to do. Talia is a valued worker. Talia is very sensitive and especially aware of minor health annoyances and body aches and pains. Talia could have hypochondriac symptoms. Talia will always help out and show her affection for others in practical ways to help them solve problems and improve their lives. Talia is excellent at finding flaws, quickly seeing details others overlook. A problem solver, she not only recognizes problems, but is also compelled to fix them. People see Talia as a great friend, supportive, knowledgeable, insightful, and reliable. -10 square between the moon and Jupiter. Talia is sometimes indifferent to others, to those who surround her. She is sometimes careless, and perhaps a little negligent and indecisive. She may feed inner restlessness with excesses in gambling, shopping, her cocaine addiction, or other comforts, and her honesty is sometimes a bit elastic. This aspect does not help professional success, especially as she tends to spend more than she earns, but this aspect doesn't deny success either. Making the most of success can be the challenge. Sometimes enthusiastic and gung-ho, and other times indifferent, it can be challenging for others to understand her. Changeable morals to suit the current situation. Should look for constructive avenues for her inner restlessness. Wonderful sense of humor and big-hearted. 167 trine between the moon and Saturn. She controls her feelings. She has a strong sense of duty and self-esteem. Very prudent. She can concentrate on a long-term task, manual or intellectual, with success. She perseveres and is serious in most things she does, but is humorous, satirical, steadfast, and upright. 89 trine between the moon and midheaven. She has a strong sense of family, profound feelings, and may especially like children and animals. If there are changes in her professional life, they are most often for the better. There is a sense of forward movement, popularity with those in authority or in the professional life. Ascendant is Sagittarius. The world is filled with adventure, new things to experience, and, most of all, hope, with this ascendant. There is an unmistakable faith and enthusiasm with Sagittarius rising people. Grand schemes, big promises, and a willingness to explore and experiment are themes, although follow-through is not a strong characteristic of Sagittarius. These individuals are somewhat restless and often active people. They always seem to be looking for something that is just out of grasp, and many did this their entire lives. They can be quite direct at times, yet they are likable enough to forgive for their faux pas. Most have a lot to say and offer. Their insights and opinions are usually interesting and exciting, although sometimes lacking in details. Sagittarius rising people have opinions about everything, and they just love telling others exactly what they are. Not all people with this position are outgoing folk, but they all have a way of moving about that at least exudes a certain level of confidence. Some might even call them naive or overly optimistic. Even the quiet ones don't shrink from life and from experience. One of the most obvious and endearing traits of Sagittarius rising is their willingness to keep up a sense of humor. Even when they're feeling low, they manage to find humor in life and have fun with whatever they do have. The placement of Sagittarius ruling planet, Jupiter, will give more clues to how they go about expressing themselves. Jupiter in Capricorn, for example, might give a more sarcastic approach, but underneath there lies an unmistakable hope and spirit for living. House 2, the second house, is the area of material security and values. It rules money and personal finances, sense of self-worth and basic values, personal possessions. Capricorn on House 2, a cautious approach to money and personal finances, possessions. Financial success may be slow but steady. A hard worker. Savings are important. Patience with accumulating. Money situation improves with maturity. House 3, the third house, is the area of social and intellectual learning. Pisces on House 3. Ideas are somewhat changeable, and her humor as well. Travel, sea voyages or work connected with the sea. House IV, the fourth house, is the area of home, family, roots, and deep emotions, sense of self-worth. Aries on House IV. Lots of authority within the family. She knows how to take the destiny of the family in hand, to take charge. She is very energetic, very strong, knowing how to cope with life's setbacks. House B, the 5th house, is the area of creative self-expression, romance, entertainment, children, and gambling. Taurus on House B, a pleasant home, a charming partner, loving and sweet children, nice little meals, pleasant evenings with the loved one, the good life. House B, the 6th house, is the area of learning by material transaction. Gemini on House B, good assistant, sales rep, jack of all trades. Weak point, the nerves, sometimes also the lungs. House 7, the 7th house, is the area of one-to-one relationships such as marriage and partnership, and of social and intellectual action. Gemini on House 7, can marry your partner quite young. A second partnership may have less passion but a lot of friendship. Can be frightened of living alone in old age. She may prefer others to the talking much of the time. House 8, the 8th house, is the area of emotional security and of security of the soul. Cancer on House 8, small inheritances possible. She usually plans well for old age. House 6, the 9th house, is the area of learning that shapes the identity. Virgo on House 6, she is devoted to all causes that bring comfort or help to people in difficulty. House X, the 10th house, is the area of material action. The midheaven represents the work one will do in one's life, the place one will take in the world of society. It becomes more important as one grows older. Libra on House 10, contacts of all kinds will lead to social success, professional, through marriage, etc. She likes society life, friendships that can help professionally. Sometimes jobs connected with justice, but frequently involved with important and influential people. House 11, the 11th house, is the area of search for social and intellectual security. Scorpio on House 11, her friendships tend to be intense and strong. There can also be strong feelings, never lukewarm or in between. She likes to debate endlessly with friends who don't share her ideas. The discussion can lead to words or verbal sparring. House 12, the 12th house, is the area of education and of emotion. This is where we meet our karma, deal with endings, and sometimes where we bury things. Sagittarius on House 12, she should learn to let go, be spontaneous, and enjoy herself more often. She might be tempted to stunt or drop her studies. She can be inclined to keep her spiritual beliefs to herself. In extreme cases, there could be problems abroad.